welcome to TCR. Sid here. What's going on? What's going on? Gotta hydrate. So I couldn't do a live the last 2 weeks. The first week, our power went out. So we couldn't, I didn't have the interwebs, and with the way YouTube is, it was like, we don't get the best service here on our phones unless we use the Wi-Fi. So I was like, I can't try to go live. It's gonna be a mess. So I was just like, oops, can't do that. Hello, Brian, my hermit life. How are ya? And then last week, couldn't get things rolling. So just kind of, unfortunately, so I missed 2 weeks of lives, which is a bummer because I do love my lives with you guys. It's never fun to miss them. So hopefully my Wi-Fi and my stream are nice and strong today, hopefully for everybody. I did a shot of apple cider vinegar right before I ran out here, and I'm regretting that decision because now I'm like very puckery. But hello, JP Lawns and more. Hello. I'm wearing my David's Come On Homestead and shirt. Come on with the come on. I got this when I went to, where were we? Catoosa, that's it. Catoosa, Oklahoma. They're in Tulsa for Shoot Dang Fest. So I was like, I finally kind of like unpacked everything, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot I got a shirt. So I'm wearing my shirt today. So hello, Steve C. Nice. I got to go through Broken Arrow when I was in Catoosa. Right on. Fun. It's a beautiful area in Broken Arrow. It's kind of like I don't want to say the fancy neighborhood, but kind of. It's kind of like a little bit fancier. It's like nice though. It's pretty. Everybody was super nice though. I do like Oklahoma an awful lot. I do have a lot of people there that I love. So I do like Oklahoma. Not mad at Oklahoma at all. But I bet it's hot there. It's hot here right now. And we're even for California right now, we're a little bit humid even, believe it or not. We actually ended up having, 2 nights ago now? We had randomly a little thunderstorm even roll through, and it was humid. I felt it when I went to bed. I was like, ooh, it's kind of sticky. And then the dogs woke me up freaking out because of the thunder. And we must have gotten just like a spit of rain during it because the skylights, which I just realized I never did open back up, closed. So, because they're on like a, what do you call it? Like a moisture sensor thing. So we leave them pretty much open most of spring and summer. And I always forget when we do get a little summer rain, it closes automatically and I have to go reopen it. But then in the winter, it just stays closed the whole time because, but hello, ASIMX. Wind chill is around 110 there. Oh, Lorshy. My goodness. It's hot in Alabama. I think it's just hot everywhere right now. It's just, it is that time of year, guys. We're edging up on July. We had a really mild summer last year, so we're kind of due for some hot ones, It's hot. Joe Sawyer says it's hot there. We have been 100 degrees the last couple of days. 100 degrees in Chicago. Yeah, it's hot everywhere right now. It's been in the high 90s. I think we hit 100 like once or twice certain parts of the day. But we've been in like 99 degrees, 98 degrees for really the last, I think, 2 weeks. And then we've had some humidity too, which is uncommon for, California. But yeah, and it's been hot. And there was a fire today just down the hill from us a little bit. So that's a little nerve-wracking, but, Tuba OG says, did you figure out which state you guys will end up in? Here's the thing. so we're still figuring life out a little bit. We are definitely, right now we're in like the kind of the, I guess you could say like the planning stages of some of that. So we're going to actually talk about that on Sunday's video about, are we going to do it? Are we not going to do it? What are we looking at for our options? Like, we're going to kind of talk about that. It's definitely, things are in motion, I would say, to the point where, it's definitely on our minds that, like, is it worth staying? So we're definitely going to be discussing that more, I think, in the next few videos. I don't want to get ahead of like saying or not saying certain things, especially with Mike not here. But I will say this. I never thought I would want to leave California, just because it's the only place I've ever lived. Really for no other reason other than that. And that I have, friends here and all, family and all that. So the flip side of that is the last few years I've been like, oh, eventually we'll move. Like when Mike retires or when Frankie's older or whatever. And then it got to be where like, well, we could do it now. So now it's kind of like, that's kind of where I am right now. You know what I mean? It's kind of where I am right now. Figuring it all out. But you guys will definitely be notified. We will definitely let you know. I mean, you gotta watch the Sunday's video that's coming out. You'll see maybe some things there. But yeah, it's gonna be kind of, as this whole situation evolves, we'll kind of see how it goes. But we're working on it. So, good evening, Ward. Oh, Brian says possible storms coming overnight. Got to get things prepared. Yes, totally understand. Good night, Brian. Nothing really, Da cough. Sorry, I can't talk today. Hello, Doug from Pole Barn Productions. What is going on? My goodness. Yeah, so, I mean, honestly, kind of just with the thought of like, well, if we decide to leave, what does that entail here? That means obviously selling here. That means, getting the house ready to be sold, which we had just finished doing a lot of things. So I kind of feel like in that sense, we're in a good place for that, So sort of, looking around and sort of kind of taking stock of some of that stuff and sort of deciding like, okay, what are our options? Like, what's it worth? And, all that kind of good stuff. So hopefully, you hear all these wonderful stories as well as, nightmares of people that decide to sell their house in any state, and you hear horror stories and you hear good stories, and you hope that you're on the good story side. So we'll see. But just kind of just taking stock of things and our options right now. I'm trying to figure it out. Hello, MT, Mike and Terry Homestead. Why, thank you. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. I'm sure you are as well, except I can't see you right now. I'm wearing my Come On Homesteading shirt on today. And I know Mike was drinking out of your coffee cup the other day because I washed it. So it's getting used. I almost dropped it the other day too, but I didn't. So that's what counts. That's the only part that counts. But yeah, I definitely have, been, if you guys watched, what was it, Wednesday's video, I did perhaps go visit another state to go poke around and look at things and see what options are. So I did go to a few different states. I went to Tennessee. I went to Mississippi. I went to Oklahoma. So, just kind of trying to kind of see what's available, see what towns we like, if those are options for us, while at the same time kind of taking stock around here and seeing like if we decide to do the thing, to do the dang thing, what that looks like on our end here. It is a little overwhelming, like even just kicking this idea around. It's very there's a lot, it's just like I don't like you accumulate a lot of stuff throughout your life anyway, and then when you're with somebody, like for as long as Mike and I have been together, you accumulate stuff as a couple. You have all your stuff, all your wedding gifts, your dishes, your all this stuff, right? And then on top of that, we have like a lot of family heirlooms from my side of the family. So I have a piano and a grandfather clock and a bedroom set with a vanity and beds and a dresser and another dresser that's part of a different set, and all of these things that I'm like, well, I can't get rid of these things because number one, they're pieces that I love and they're pieces that I want to be able to pass down to Frankie someday if she wants them. And they're just, they're family heirlooms. Like you don't just like sell them at a yard sale for $20, So there's a lot of things like that just having to, it's not like we have all IKEA furniture that I could just be like, oh, let's just sell it at a yard sale and we'll just buy new or, go treasure hunting when we get there. I can't do that. So we do have to pack up and take a lot with us if we decide to do this. And that is a little bit daunting because that's not cheap. So there's definitely a lot of like angsty pros and cons, I guess, when it comes to that stuff. So that guy from Cali, hello from Glendale, Arizona. My goodness. It's 88 degrees in Canada right now. That's hot for Canada. I remember going to the Stampede in Calgary in July when I was about, let's see, how old was I? 17, 18, somewhere around there. I think I was 17. And it was cold. I wore jeans and a turtleneck and jackets because we went up to Banff and it was cold. And I remember thinking, I can't believe it's July because it's cold. But again, that was from a Southern California girl that grew up literally 5 minutes from the beach. So my definition of hot and cold were very different than most people's. So, hello, Joe is there from scenic Luther, Michigan. Yes, nice. Gungadin says starting over is difficult, add in moving to another state, and it's amplified. I could see that. There's definitely, listen, guys, there's a lot of pros and cons on both sides. And that is what, Mike and I are both pretty pragmatic people. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of pros and cons. We're making lists. We're looking at our options. We're seeing, what makes sense financially, what makes sense emotionally, what makes sense mentally, what makes sense for our daughter, what makes sense for our lifestyle. So all of these factors have to get kind of, put in column A and column B, and we're kind of got to see where it all weighs out. I will say this. I think that I maybe am more on board with it, at least in some ways, than Mike is, which actually surprises me. I feel like maybe I was the one kind of starting this conversation with him a little bit more. I think that to him, it was always something that we would never do. So he just didn't let his brain go there. But with me saying like, it's totally a possibility. Like, why couldn't we talk about this? He was like, okay, let's talk about it. But that's weird. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not that he's closed off to the idea at all, because we don't make decisions that way when it comes to things that really impact our lives. We generally are pretty good about talking it out, but yeah, it's definitely one of those things where I think I surprised him with how I was like, well, let's start really seriously looking at this. Like, let's sit down and talk about it. Let's make lists. What's stopping us from doing it? What are the pros of doing this? What are the cons of doing this? And let's really sit down and discuss like where this would take us. And while no decisions have been like, set in stone. It's definitely one of those things where we're like, okay, we're starting to see a clearer picture. And I think we're going to get to a point here pretty quickly where we kind of know definitively yay or nay. So, you know. Ritaka Ace, hello from the Republic of California. Well, Vegas, I mean, I don't know. With the Lake Mead drought, Steve says he wonders what Vegas is going to do. You know, I don't know. I mean, Vegas is Vegas. I mean, maybe wouldn't be quite the issue as like the whole of Nevada. I mean, people do live there outside of Vegas. I don't know. Make a list of everything that you want in a homestead, desirable jobs available, temperature span, you're willing to tolerate hot and cold, schools and parks, etc. Yeah, I mean, we've definitely been doing that. In fact, we are working on, there's a teaser for you, we are working on a video of, you know, what are the things that we're looking at? What's on our list? You know, what's the crime rates? What's the unemployment rate? What's the, you know, average income in the town? What's, you know, there's certain things that kind of help you factor in some of these decisions. You know, what are the schools rated at? You know, how far is it to the nearest shopping? How far is it to the nearest hospital? Things like that you kind of have to look at, you know. And then there's things like, okay, what about your insurance? What does that look like? Health insurance. What is, you know, who takes what out there? And so every town that we're looking at, we're really having to kind of scrutinize and look at all of these different things to see, like, what are our possibilities if we like a place in Oklahoma, if we like a place in Alabama, if we like a place in Arkansas, like what are all these things looking like in all those states? What are the income tax rates? What are the property tax rates? What are, you know, all those things. So we definitely, I feel like we are working on a very comprehensive, pragmatic list of what makes sense and what doesn't when it comes to all of that, and to really be aware of it, you know. It's just, it's crazy, man. I'm telling you, there's a lot to look at that you don't think about right off the bat, you know. It is amazing, Joe, how much stuff you accumulate over the course of years. It is a daunting task, and it's, you know, I won't say that I'm a pack rat. I am pretty good about getting rid of stuff, but I have a lot of things that have like sentimental or family meaning or value to me that I'm like, I don't want to part with that. And I like to surround myself in my home with, some might say, like odd, weird things that make me happy. Like, you guys have commented before about the picture behind me. It used to be on that wall, but I moved it. This was actually a picture of the Tour de France that I got from my dad, where they're all lighting each other's cigarettes. And I just find it ironic and funny. And he loved the Tour de France. That's why I got it for him. And so, but now it hangs on my wall, and I get a chuckle every time I look at it. I think of my dad, and I think of how ironic the photo is, and just silly. So things like that I'm like, I'm not getting rid of that. And I have a big picture over here that was a picture that my dad took of, for those of you from Southern California know, the Star of India. It's a very famous ship that is parked in the harbor, and it's kind of iconic to San Diego. And so he took this amazing picture at like sunset with the mast in the picture. I guess I should kind of show you. I'm like sitting here describing it so I can get it in the frame. My dad took that picture, and I love it. And I've had it hanging on my wall for years. There's a lot of pictures that my dad took that I'm not going to get rid of, that have to come with me. And then I have weird little signs and lots of flamingo stuff that friends and family have given me, or that I bought myself, because I love good flamingo. But you know, it is what it is. So, oh, what was that? I missed something. I'm trying to go back. Fidel says we are relocating to Oklahoma in a little less than 2 months. Mustang, to be exact. How exciting. I don't know where Mustang is. You'd have to say like north, south, east, west, middle. Give me an idea. Anne of all trades moved her farm from PNW to Tennessee. PNW. Oh, Pacific Northwest. There we go. I'm like, okay, gotcha. Right on. Yeah, a lot of people move into Tennessee, and that is also a factor. There's so many, specifically Californians too, that have moved from California to Tennessee, California to Texas, California to Idaho. I think those are like the top 3 states that everybody relocated to. And so the prices have been driven up in those places, I've noticed in my searches. And I think it's going to make it really hard, some of those places, to even look at, because you're looking at a really small amount of land, and for the amount of money that they're asking for now, it doesn't seem to quite equate. So I don't know. Terry at MT Homestead says that Mike is looking for a job in the States you are looking at right now, and how is that going? Well, there you go. I guess I kind of filled you in on that. So, is Mike looking for a job? I see what you're saying. No. He is able to work remotely with the company he's with now, which is good. I thought when you said, I just thought Mike looking for a job, and I didn't see the is part, and I just immediately thought you were talking about your Mike, which doesn't make sense. So gotcha. So no, he'll just, honestly, one of the things that we're looking at in different states and different areas and different properties that we're kind of still researching is, do they have internet there? What's their internet like? That is one of the factors on our checklist, because with him working remotely with the YouTube, we want to make sure that we have access to good, decent internet. So we don't, he doesn't want to have to drive into town and sit in the Walmart parking lot to try to work. He can't do that with his job. He needs to have an office with a computer and monitors and all that. So yeah, so luckily that part is not a problem. Finding places that we like with internet is an issue. So, it's going to be, it's like, yeah, we find, like, we could see a place in one state, like, that will maybe have internet not too far from schools, checks a lot of the boxes, but it's maybe only 5 acres and your neighbor's right up against you. And then your 5 acres is like this. And we're like, that's not really what we want. So we're still poking about, still weighing pros and cons of different areas. I'm very much of the mindset that if this is all meant to be, things will fall into place. We'll find the perfect place for us that checks the right boxes, that's meant to be. And I feel like that will be a happy thing, So I think we'll be good. Oh, I don't want to restart my computer right now. Thank you very much. Good grief. Joe says definitely make a decision table with pros and cons, weighing each topic. I completely agree. Like, there's some things that are like, oh, it would be nice if we were only, 15 minutes from town, but if we're 25 or 30 minutes, is that a deal breaker if everything else is really great? I don't know. Like, there's certain things like that we've had to really put down on paper and discuss, because there's certain things that would be deal breakers. Like, the schools are terrible. Like, because Frankie's still in school, like, that has to be a factor for us. Like, there's certain things, the crime rate, like, we looked at one town that we loved. We saw this one town just in the beginnings of our research. We thought it looked really, really great. It was like the rapiest place on the planet. And we were like, we cannot take our beautiful, blonde-haired, young, female child daughter to this really, really rapey place to go live. Like, we just can't. I don't care how nice the town is. It's very rapey. That's not going to work. So really looking at some of those statistics, like, we really had to kind of break it all down and say, like, okay, like, what are things that are deal breakers? Rapey town, total deal breaker for us. Does it maybe get a little hotter or a little colder than we're used to, or more humid than maybe we wanted? Is that a deal breaker? No, it's not. So that's kind of where we where we're at right now. So, Mark, what happened? Okay, sorry, I'm behind in my comments here, so I missed you there. Mark Stadelman just became a TCR talker and became a member. Look at you. Well, thank you, Mark. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining the crew. Of course, we have MT Homestead in here who's actually pulling double duty because I always have them as a moderator too when they're in here. Exactly. Joe says, then multiply it, add it up, fold it up, and go with your gut. Yep. You got to go with your gut sometimes. You really do, I feel like. Yes. Happy Friday, Emmanuel. James says, Ramona is your home. Stay. We're in Lakeside with Small Chicken Ranch. We love it here in Cali. You know, James, I do too. It is my home. I do love Ramona. I do love our home. But we are limited here. And that's one of the things that I'm really butting up against is we'll never be able to have more land to do some of the things that we really want to do, to expand in the way that we really want to expand. And then I worry about Frankie, like when she becomes an adult, like, would she be able to afford to live here? Would she want to live here? I don't know. But I mean, that'll be her decision either way. But there's beautiful, wonderful places in Southern California. There's beautiful, wonderful people here. But I don't know if long term, if it's meant to be for us here, you know. Mike never planned on really staying here. He always thought he would end up going back somewhere in the South. And I don't know, maybe it's time for that. So that's why I don't know why my computer wants to run every diagnostic known to man right now. It's like, you're live, let me make all the bing bongs. Okay. California is an expensive place to live. You know, and I get it. Like, there are certain places that it's more expensive to live for different reasons. The bone that I have to pick with California right now is really, like we talked about in our video last Sunday of, you know, should we leave or not, is the raising of the rates of all the insurances to the point where you can't afford your mortgage for some people. Like, you know, luckily we can still, I mean, we're not like going under right now, but it's tight. And I know some people that and in fact, actually, I did just get another notice that it's going up again in July. So I'll have to see what that new bill is going to be because they haven't told me that yet. So it could increase it even more, which could completely price me out. But there are some people that, like, I know one person, their insurance went up like $15,000 a year. 15,000, not 1,500, 15,000. That raises your insurance so much, or your rather your mortgage if you have everything amortized into your mortgage. You're looking at like what, over $1,000 a month more of your mortgage payment. So if your mortgage payment, you know, was $2,500, now you're looking at $3,500 a month. That's not doable for most people to just throw another $1,000 away, and that's what's happening in San Diego. And now I can't speak to the rest of California, but I know that's what's happening here. So things like that, it's frustrating for people. So I get it, you know, I get it. It's about to get real fiery, but mostly peaceful up in here. Is that so, the bastard of America? I could see that. There's definitely some fiery things that happened this week with SCOTUS. I mean, we don't have to get into all that, but definitely some fiery things that happened. You know, it was a win for 2A yesterday. And depending on your stance on states' rights versus federal rights, I feel like that was a win. I know some people may not agree, but, you know, it's what it is. Both of my parents grew up during the Depression, and it really made me a bit of a pack rat. That and waste not, want not. Never get rid of the pictures. It means something to you. Exactly. Yes. I agree, Joe. Like my grandmother grew up during the Depression, and same thing. Like, you know, I think it's hard for some people to, like, I'm really good at, like, I like to live in a space that feels clean and inviting, and I like to have things around me that are things that mean something to me or that I enjoy looking at, because I do spend so much time at home. But I am bad sometimes about, I don't know what to do with this right now, and I shove it in a cupboard. But then once a year, I am pretty good about going through cupboards and get rid of stuff that I don't need. So it's sort of like I guess it's a game. But moving is a good way to like chuck everything that you don't need. I guess that's good. So. Oh, Allison says that yesterday was her birthday. Happy 15 years old, Allison. Oh, Joe says that's the bad thing about Luther. Internet is slow and expensive. Paying Elon Musk puts up Starlink or something. Well, you get on that list from what I understand. I actually talked to somebody about that. It was Anthony from CRC at Shooting Fest. He was telling me all the ins and outs of how that works. And you actually go on their website and you register, you pay the deposit, which I want to say he said was either, I think it was $100 for the deposit to like, get on the list. And then you have to pay $500 once they basically they say, hey, you can get it now in your area, and then you get the kit thing for it and you're good to go. So look into that, see if your area is eligible to like get on that list. But yeah, Joe, that might be worth looking into. Georgia is on the list, John. Yeah, we're actually, that is one of the states that we're looking at. And we're going to get into detail on that in another video. But yeah, why do people keep saying hi, Jen? Am I missing something here? There's two people that say hi, Jen. I don't know. Oh, I'm way behind in the chat here, guys, aren't I? Hold on. Way behind in the chat. I didn't realize I was this far behind in the chat. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm trying to catch up here, guys. I don't know what happened, but my thing got stuck and I didn't realize. Oh, Pafford Homestead. Hello. I know, long time no see. Two old people on a couch. Yes, I'm sorry. Apparently, I'm way behind in my chat. I guess it got stuck and I didn't realize it, and because it was still moving, but it was like way far up there, and I guess I missed a bunch of stuff happening here. My goodness. Yes, two old people on a couch. I was very happy about that. I know some of my friends here in California are very sad about it. And oh, I believe that, Patrick, that California's planning on putting meters on private wells and charging for water pumps. I believe it. Yeah, I feel like that is accurate. That feels like a troll to me. Little trolly there, I believe. Yeah. My goodness. Okay, I'm trying to scroll down so I can catch up here. I do have David's shirt on. I'm wearing my Come On Homesteading shirt that I got at Shoot Dang Fest from him. Because last time at the meetup, the year before, I got a shirt, but I got one from Mike. But this year he had smaller shirts. So this year, Frankie and I got this shirt. But I'm wearing it tonight for the live because I'm special. And I heard two old people on a couch. You hit a little bit of a milestone, if I'm not wrong. I believe it was, what did I read? 1,500? Was that it? Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, you're welcome, Joe, for that. That was hand-me-down information from CRC. So hopefully that does you well. Hey, Capper Outdoors. Yes, happy Friday. It's always good to be Friday. Yay. Yeah, I got her out of there now. Sorry, I was a little behind there on some of that. Oh, yeah. Two old people says Newsom has California's back. If you believe that, I got some oceanfront property to sell you in the middle of Oklahoma. Oh no, I completely agree. The Bachelor of America. I'm much more in favor of state rights rather than federal authority. There we go. I can't talk today. My goodness. Yay, congrats to old people on a couch. I think I finally caught up with all the comments. It took me a minute. I got it. Okay. I was like trying to scroll down and not miss anything. I didn't realize I was so far behind. So my apologies if it seems like I was having a delayed whatever there. So, but yes, that's exciting. 1,500 subscribers on for two old people on a couch. That's exciting. I love it. I love it. Chickens are good. They're always good. They're they're out there living their best life. They're waiting for me to give them more of their grub terra. They love that stuff, So, and you can always, of course, go get yourself some grub terra. Use that TCR promo code and get yourself a discount. There you go. They love it. Oh, Patrick says he loves the South, but for the humidity and gators and chiggers, he hates those little creepy crawlies. I get it. I do. Trust me, bugs love me more than I love them. And I would not be excited about the prospect of the bug situation. Because when we do get little flare-ups out here of mosquitoes, since we are on the creek, I get eaten up. It's not as bad as when I was younger. I feel like my immune system is finally like, forget it, you're gonna die soon anyway. So it just is like giving up on having allergic reactions like I used to. But it still gets me more than the average bear. So I don't know. It is what it is. The pole barn says that they picked up 4 laying hens and a rooster last weekend. 13 hens total now. Nice. I have a lot out there. I did sell my sheep, which was sad to say goodbye to them, but I did sell my sheep, and I do sell my goats out there, but my friend is gonna take them. So, and then I still have all my poultry out there. So, still got lots of birdie birds happening out there. My goodness. So yeah, it's it is what it is. Like I just kind of think like going back to the whole, weather moving thing. There's always trade-offs wherever you are. Here we have earthquakes and drought and fire. We've had some bad fires out here, like fires to the point where like roads are closed and you're trapped in your area and can't leave. I've lived through that here. Like it's not fun. The earthquakes are sort of like whatever. Really, it's only bad if there's a big one. The little ones are like whatever, and there's no warning. It just happens when it happens. And sometimes they jolt you and really scare you, and sometimes they're just super mild, and it's like you sleep through it and you check Facebook the next day and you see, oh, I guess we had an earthquake last night. Who knew? So the earthquakes are sort of like until the big one hits, it's like you don't even really, growing up in California is just not a big deal. But the fires always scare me. I'm not gonna lie. Whenever there's a fire close by, I get into a little bit of panic mode, because the fires really do freak me out. Because you're really trapped, because you can't leave. Like you can't leave. Like the roads are closed. Like it's approaching. Like and they happen quick. So and then they spread like wildfire. It's a saying for a reason, guys. So the fires freak me out. Now I know, like, if you move to a lot of places in the South, you've got like either hurricanes or tornadoes or things like that to worry about. Which, of course, those are factors as well in all of that decision making process. But I'm not mad at the idea of having like 4 full seasons. I'm not mad at the idea of having the occasional like bad weather. Tornadoes. I'm gonna sneeze. Hello. Tornadoes do kind of freak me out. Bless me, my child. But I also know that like my friends that live in like Oklahoma that have tornado warnings all the time don't really freak out that much. So yes, that's exactly right. Oh, I couldn't fix it. Thank you. Oh, I couldn't save your comment there. I guess it got deleted or something. Oh, here. No, it didn't. Here it is. It showed up. Yeah, so you hard-boiled 6 dozen a couple weeks ago, and just some of them, we now have 7 to 13 eggs every day or every other day. It's crazy. So you gotta like freeze them, like crack them, scramble them, freeze them flat in Ziploc bags. I love doing that because then they're just ready to go. Or you can do the water jarring. And that I can't think of words today. I don't know what's wrong with me. With the lime and all the coconut. No, there's no coconut. But you do them so they're shelf stable, and then in the winter when your girls aren't laying, you got eggs. It's great. So thank you for all the blessings, you guys. I appreciate it. Joe says, when you said the town you looked at was rapey, did I hear you correctly? As in lots of women getting raped? Yes. I could never move there with a daughter. Yeah. So when we saw that, we were like, no. I mean, yeah. We were like just looking at the different crime statistics, and all of a sudden there was this one that was like super high, and we were like, that's off the list for sure. So yeah, see, Jat says tornadoes aren't so bad, usually localized damage. And I think that's just the case. And like even my friends that I have that live in like Tornado Alley, I always like I'll text them or whatever when I hear that there's a tornado warning near them, and they're always like, "Oh, it's fine. It's miles away. Like, it's fine. Don't worry, I'm fine." Like, blah, blah, blah. They always act like it's so blasé, and they do the same thing to me. Oh my gosh, I heard there was an earthquake in Southern California, and I was like, "Yeah, it was like a 4.2. Like, it didn't even get me out of bed. Like, it's no biggie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just whatever your normal is, I guess." And so you get used to it either way. Patrick says he lives up in Northern California, around 2 hours north of Sacramento. Past couple of years, the Paradise Fire and the fires around Redding have been fun. Yeah. I mean, we had, what was the one? We had Cedar, we had Witch Creek and Cedar down here in like 2007-ish. And we were living in Santee at the time. It was right before we bought our first house. And we were living in the apartments, and I could see the flames from our apartments coming up the hill on the back side. And the road was closed going out to leave Santee. So I couldn't go to work. And I had to call my boss and say, like, I think I have to evacuate. Like, we ended up not having to evacuate because of the way the town was laid out and the way the hills were, but the roads were closed leaving where we were going to get to like the freeway to get to work. So I had to take, I think it was like 2 days before I could go back into work. And my boss was cool about it. He understood. I mean, half the city was in Fuego. So, it was what it was. But yeah, those fires are no fun. And then like when it rains, it just was raining ash for like a week afterwards. I feel like it was a long time. It was raining ash, and it was super like overcast, foggy, smoggy, smoky. You couldn't go outside. It was like it was bad. It was bad. Oh, you do. You have bags of scrambled frozen eggs, and you want to pickle some too. We pickled a lot of ours too. Mike loves pickled eggs. I'm not as wild about them unless I mix them in something. I can't just eat them plain. They get too rubbery for me. But like in a tuna salad or something like that, I'm kosher with them. And the quail eggs, though, that's another story. I'll eat those bad boys hard boiled or pickled rather. Those are good. But yeah, the water jarring them, the freezing them, just saving them. So however you can. I've even gone as far as to like make whole quiches and freeze them for the winter. And those actually work pretty well too. So it's always an option too. It is crazy. Water glassing. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. I was like, what did I say? Water canning? I knew that wasn't right when I said it. I was like, that's not it. What's it called? Water liming, water canning, water glassing. I don't know. Something like that. Yeah. Oh, Harry Hall. How do you get rid of invasive plants. We have Virginia creeper plant. You know, I don't know. That is definitely a Mike question. I am not the plant lady. I know that a lot of times Mike will say, you've got to like really dig out, like figure out where the roots are and get it all out. And then depending on where it is and what it's near on your property, if you're cool with using like invasive chemicals or pouring like boiling hot water on it, if as at least something to like kill it, and finding all of it to get it away. So yeah, that's all. But that's again, just saying. Dakoff, is there a video on the frozen scrambled and hard boiled eggs? That sounds interesting. There is actually. I did do a video on freezing the eggs. Like you put a little bit of salt. I think if you just Google on the channel, I walk you through it. It's pretty easy. You really can't screw it up. And I used some actually not that long ago to make stuff. When it was before the girls started laying again, so I guess it's been a couple months now. But they were ones that I had saved the year before, and they were perfectly fine. You cannot tell once you cook them. They look funny. Not gonna lie. When you thaw them back out, they're gonna look weird. They're going to look like they've gone bad, like they've separated a little bit. But once you pour them back out and whip them back up and cook them and do whatever you're going to do with them, whether it's baking or just eating scrambled eggs and add in milk or whatever, they're fine. It's that initial, like when you unfreeze them, they look a little bit like a science experiment, but they taste fine. You can't tell the difference. Just make sure you put a little salt, and I forget how much it is. It's in the video. Just put a little bit of salt in there. It may just be like a pinch. I don't think it's a measured amount. I think it's just like salted a little bit, depending on how many eggs you're doing before you freeze it. It helps them not get quite so separated and crystallized. It just kind of helps them freeze better, from my understanding. So, yeah. Oh my goodness, from Antarctica. That's crazy. Jazal, is it Jazali? Jazali? I don't want to mispronounce your name, but I'm struggling with that one. My goodness. Oh, there's a class action lawsuit against PG&E over all the damage done to AC units from the ash fall. I didn't realize that was part of it. I know that they was a lawsuit, like SCG&E out here. That's one of the reasons why they raised their rates consecutively all the time. The amounts that they did was because they're still trying to pay off all these lawsuits that got won in the last 2 years from those fires. They're trying to pay it off, so they just keep raising everybody else's rates to pay for it. So, I'm sure Taka Newsom will get PG&E out of trouble. Yeah. Oh no, Pafford Homestead says it's so hot here in Texas, most of my garden is dying. Oh no. That's so sad. It's just, yeah. This heat wave this year did come on earlier than usual. I will say it does, this June has felt more like July. So July, I'm guessing, is going to feel more like August. So maybe August will feel more like September.
Or it's getting hotter.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Every year it's you never know. Everything goes in cycles. You get years of this and years of that. And, it is what it is. So, yeah. Crazy. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me tonight, Friday night. Definitely, stay tuned, because I think there's going to be big decisions coming out regarding whether we stay or go, that we're going to take you through the process with us as we make these decisions, and show you why we're making these decisions and what's going on, and kind of take you all through it. Kind of take you guys on the journey with us as we look at all of our options and weigh the pros and cons and kind of figure it out. So we appreciate you guys. And I think what we're going to try to do is sort of break it up into, on Sundays, those videos are going to be more about what we're looking at in terms of moving, and is it a possibility, and all of that. So definitely make sure you're checking it out. I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me tonight. Make sure you click the thumbs up button on your way out. I would appreciate you. And don't forget to check out MT Homestead, Pole Barn Productions. Our new member here, it was Mark. Thank you so much. And we had 2 old people on a couch, and so Mark and Debbie. And we had Pafford Homestead popping in today. Y'all make sure you tell David that I was wearing his shirt today so he knows. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I will see you guys all next week. Bye. Oops, there we go. Figured out.